Hello friends, in this video we are going to see the classification of shift register. Let us begin. As you can see on the screen, these are the classifications of shift register. So very first classification is serial in, serial out. The next one is serial in, parallel out. I'm sure you must have figured it out. PISO stands for parallel in, serial out. And the last type is parallel in, parallel out. Let us see one by one in detail. So the first type says serial in, serial out shift register. What does that mean? As you can see, there is only one input over here. So on that single line, you can apply either 0 or 1. For example, if you have data, let's say 101, this 101 is actually a 3-bit data. This 3-bit data you cannot apply simultaneously on the single pin. So what really happens is you cannot apply this 3-bit simultaneously. So you apply one after the other. So you apply only one bit at a time, and that feature or that provision of applying the input or the way in which we are applying the input, this is what we call as a serial input. So this type of input is referred to as serial input. In a similar way, for taking the output, we got only one line. So in spite of having more than one bit inside the shift register, you cannot take all of them at a time. You can take only one bit at a time. And that's the reason why the output is also having the same nature, that is serial output. So for example, if I say that it is a 3-bit shift register, so roughly now I can actually draw 3-bit shift register means there are 3 flip-flops. All of them are, D flip-flop only. As you can see over here, I'm drawing 3 shift register, or I shouldn't say shift register. I mean to say I'm drawing 3 flip-flops over here. So let me assume this one as D2, D1, D0, and let's say this is Q0, and let's make a common clock. These clocks are necessary. Because without clock, a flip-flop cannot get triggered, and if it is not getting triggered, it is not going to even shift a data. So for shifting purpose, of course, you require a clock. That's the reason why you see a clock arrangement here. So in this arrangement, what I mean to say, let us assume this is D in and let us assume this is D out. As you see, if I make a box out of it, you can compare the above block diagram with this block now, where D in is input, this is a clock arrangement, and this is Q0, or I would say it is a D out. Let us understand on a 3-bit level, then it will be easy for us to make it even a generalized, that is for n-bit shift register. You'll understand what I mean to say. Assume that the outputs of these flip-flops are Q2, Q1, Q0. Please don't forget, even though there are 3 outputs, to take the final output, we have only one arrangement over here, that is Q0. So Q0 is the only pin which will give you the final output. Assume that all of the flip-flops were initially cleared. In that case, no clock was applied, or let's say a 0th clock is applied. And over here, I'm going to mention my serial input. Since I'm assuming that it is a 3-bit, I have actually decided to store 101 inside this. So 101 is a serial data, but again, since the input is also serial type, you can apply only one bit at a time. So here I have not applied anything because I have not even applied a clock. Let me first of all apply clock number 1. So when I'm applying clock number 1, now I'm going to take the first bit, okay? The first bit over here, I'm starting with LSB. So I apply serial input as 1. Therefore, by default D2 becomes 1. So whenever you apply a very first clock, this flip-flop gets triggered and this 1 gets shifted here, isn't it? So this 1 gets shifted here, this 1 gets shifted here, this 0 gets shifted here, this 0 gets shifted here, isn't it? Next, then what you do, since your data is 3-bit, you know that for storing that 3-bit you will require 3 clock. So at least we have to go 3 clocks ahead, and let's see then what we get at the output. So let me assume I have applied clock number 2, in which I'm going to apply my second bit of my decided data, that is 101. So the second bit is 0. So what happens, whatever that you apply on serial input gets transferred to Q2 when you apply a clock. The previous Q2 gets shifted to Q1. The previous Q1 gets shifted to Q0, like that. Then still my complete data is not stored. So I require one more clock. Let us see clock 3. So on clock 3, let me keep the new serial data, that is 1. So whatever serial input that you apply on D2 gets transferred to Q2 when the clock is applied. At the same time, the previous Q2 gets shifted to Q1. The previous Q1 gets shifted to Q0. Try to understand my point. Now this 101 is successfully stored inside the shift register. So what has only happened is 101 is stored inside this shift register. But my aim is not only to store the data. My aim is to also take that data out. I have to retrieve back the data, whatever I have stored inside the shift register. Yes or no? So let me just take. So what I expect is, when I have actually stored 101, I want that whole 101 out of the shift register. But let me tell you, since 1 is already stored inside this, so during that only Q0 is available, meaning that as you can see, this 1 is available already at D out pin. But since the data size is actually 3-bit, since the data size is 3-bit and only 1 bit I have retrieved, there are 2 more bits which I need to retrieve. That's the reason why what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to apply a 4th clock pulse. On 4th clock pulse, my aim is not to give any serial input. So let me just put it blank, okay? Again, when I'm putting it blank, it does not mean it is 1 or it is 0. It can be 1, it can be 0. It's just that we don't care what it is, okay? So whatever that you apply on serial input, or whatever present on serial input, gets transferred to Q2, okay? But we have nothing to do with that. This 1 gets shifted here, this 0 gets shifted here. Please understand, now on Q0 what is available is 0. So it is our part of data. So 10 is available. Please don't forget that our data is 101, out of which 10 is we have received, that is 2 bits are received, one more bit is yet to receive. I require one more clock, 5th clock. On 5th clock, again, I don't care what I have put on serial input. So whatever I have put gets transferred to Q2. The previous Q2 gets shifted to Q1. The previous Q1 gets shifted to Q0. Please understand, Q0 is the pin. Q0 is the pin where we are taking D out. So now we have this one out. As you can see, what I did is I tried to store 3-bit inside the shift register, and after that I tried to retrieve the same data back. What you have to do, you have to only count the number of clock pulses needed to achieve this task. The number is in front of you. It is clearly seen that 5 clock pulses were needed to store the data as well as retrieve it back. I hope you understood that. So from this I can say that 5 clock pulses were needed. What I'll do now further, what I'll see is I'll analyze why 5 clock pulses were needed. Please pay attention. So total clock pulses were required to store as well as retrieve 3-bit data from CISO, that is serial in serial out shift register, were 5. If you just see carefully or if you observe carefully, you will understand that out of 5 clock pulses, have you noticed that 3 clock pulses were needed to store the data? And of course, it is common sense 3 clock pulses were needed because it was a 3-bit data. If it would have been a 4-bit data, of course, we would have required 4 clock pulses. And remaining 2 clock pulses we required in order to retrieve the data back. So extra 2 clock pulses were required to retrieve the data. Can you see that for storing 3-bit you required 3 clock pulses, but for getting the same data back you are required to have only 2 clock pulses. That is 1 clock pulse lesser as compared to for storing the data you required. Yes or no? What I mean to say that, for example, 3 clock pulses are needed here, only 2 clock pulses are needed here, just because it was a 3-bit data. For example, if it would have been, let's say, 4-bit data, that is a shift register with 4 flip-flops together, would require 4 clock pulses to store the data. But when it comes to retrieval of the data, you require only 3 clock pulses. I hope you understand that. The reason why you require 1 clock pulse lesser as compared to this, just because when you apply the third clock pulse, 1 bit data, that is nothing but MSB of the data, is already available over there. Okay, rather we should not say MSB, it is LSB. Since the data is 101, you cannot differ in MSB and LSB, but please understand, it is a criteria that you always transfer LSB first. You apply LSB first. Since you have applied this one first, this one actually got propagated ahead and you received that one first. Then you received second bit as 0, then third bit you received as 1. So this one is referred to as MSB and this one is referred to as LSB. I hope you understand my point, right? So when you have applied the third clock pulse, on that clock pulse only 1 bit data available on the output pin. So what happens is only 2-bit data was left or were left to retrieve back. So we required 2 more clock pulses, isn't it? Why I'm actually emphasizing on this point very much, just because now I have to make it generalized. Because in the exam, you may not face 3-bit shift register. You may have to face with 14-bit shift register or 13-bit shift register or even 100-bit of shift register. So let's make it generalized. Let's make it generalized. Let us say for n-bit data, you will require how many clock pulses to store the data? Of course, it is n-bit, or I would say n clock pulses rather. So n clock pulses are needed to store, and to retrieve back you require n minus 1 clock pulses. Try to understand, if I want to get the total clock pulses, it is always n plus n minus 1, where this is equal to what? 2n minus 1. So 2n minus 1 clock pulses are needed to store as well as to retrieve back the data. I hope you understand my point. Now, the type of triggering that we have used over there is a positive age triggering, meaning that the time space between 2 clocks is considered as t. This is also called as a time period. If you actually inverse it, you will get the frequency. Now, what I'm actually interested to see the total time required to achieve this. So now what I want to say is total time to achieve this task. So it is very simple. It is very simple. If I say that the time spacing between 2 positive edges is t, yes or no? That is, after every clock period t, 1 bit gets shifted or 1 bit transaction happens. So here the number of clock pulses that you need is 2n minus 1 clock pulses. So obviously when 1 clock pulse width is t, so for 2n minus 1 clock pulses you require a total time equal to 2n minus 1 multiplied by t seconds. I hope you understand my point. And from this, if you have a total time period, if you actually inverse it, you will actually get a frequency. This frequency will actually tell you the speed at which it is transferring the data. I hope you understood my point. And the unit will be bits per second, isn't it? So I'm sure you understood this serial in, serial out shift register. For n bit, you require n clock pulses to store and n minus 1 clock pulses to retrieve the data. So the total clock pulses over here, these are total clock pulses, is equal to n clock pulses for storing, n minus 1 clock pulses to retrieve. So total clock pulses are 2n minus 1. One clock length in terms of time is t. So if you want to get the total time, it is obviously total number of clock pulses needed multiplied by the clock width for one cycle, that is t. So the total time is 2n minus 1 multiplied by t seconds. I hope you understood this. Let's move to the next type. So the next type is serial in, parallel out shift register. As you can see, for applying the input, you got only one pin, and that's the reason why the provision is called as a serial input. But once the data gets stored inside serial in, parallel out shift register, what really happens, the same time we get the data out. Therefore, as you can see, there are multiple pins to take the data out, and therefore this provision is called as parallel out. So whatever data that you have stored inside the shift register, the same time you have those data available on respective pins. And of course, irrespective of that, you have to apply clock. The type of triggering can be anything. Maybe in the last type, I have used a positive edge. Here I have used a negative edge. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It matters only when you are using them as counter. When you are using them as counter, okay, during that only it does matter, the type of triggering. But here, in case of shift register, the type of triggering doesn't matter. So what I have used over here is a negative edge triggering. So the time space between two negative edge triggering is t, or it is also called as a time period. If you inverse it, of course you will get the frequency of the clock, isn't it? So let's see that. Suppose if I take an example that it is a 3-bit shift register. Since the type of input is still serial input, meaning that to store 3-bit, you still require n clock pulses, yes or no? That is, for storing 3-bit, we shouldn't say n, we can say that 3 clock pulses are needed. So here 3 clock pulses are needed to store. Plus. Now the moment the 3 clock pulses are over, the 3 bits are already stored inside the shift register. At the same time, they are available on their respective pins, meaning that to retrieve that data, you don't require extra clock pulse. So you require a 0 clock pulse now, or you would require no clock pulses to retrieve the data back. Within 3 clock pulses only, it gets stored also, it gets retrieved also. Moral of the story, what I really want to say, for n bit shift register, if I want to have total clock pulses, it is straight away n. It is straight away n. N clock pulses are needed to store the data. The moment the data is stored, at the same time, all the data is available on respective pins of the flip-flop. Therefore, you require no extra clock pulse to retrieve the data back. Of course, since I know the total clock pulses, the total time required to carry out this operation is obviously n times t, where I hope you understand t means a 1 clock cycle time spacing, isn't it? Let's move ahead with the next shift register. Now this is parallel in, serial out shift register. So when I say parallel in, it somehow looks like this. Let's say if I'm drawing for 3 flip-flops. You know that in case of shift register, the clock is common. Here I have taken negative edge, so let me draw negative edge. As I said, the type of triggering doesn't matter. So let us say D0, D1, D2 is the parallel data. Let me say 101 is the data and you have applied a clock. All of them gets triggered at the same time. And what happens? Whatever data is over here, okay, that gets stored automatically. So 101. Try to understand. Within only one clock pulse, the data gets stored inside the shift register, because since there is a provision to apply all the data same time, I can say that within only one clock pulse, the whole data get stored inside the shift register. Yes or no? But then, as you can see the output arrangement, you got only one pin. You got only one pin. Even though all the data is available, you cannot take that data on single pin. In fact, you have to take only one bit at the output pin at a time. So I hope you understand that. So irrespective whether it is 3-bit, 4-bit or 5-bit, 6-bit, you require only one clock pulse to store the data. Yes or no? Therefore, now I can come to a very important conclusion, that is for n-bit parallel in serial out shift register, if I want to see the total number of clock pulses needed, I can go with that very easily. See that the total clock pulses. Never ever forget that when I have to calculate number of clock pulses, that is total clock pulses over here, I see that how many clock pulses are needed to store the data and how many clock pulses needed to retrieve the data. Over here it is very clear. Since the input arrangement is parallel, you require only one clock pulse to store the data. And by default, when it comes to serial out pin, you know that for taking the data serially out, you definitely require n-1 clock pulses. The reason why it is n-1 clock pulses, I'm sure you remember that. If you now don't understand, again go back to serial in, serial out shift registers explanation, see to it and then get back to this. You should understand that for taking the n-bit data out, you always require n-1 clock pulses. But here 1 gets cancelled. Ultimately, you still require n clock pulses. You require n clock pulses. Ultimately, the total time I can write required to carry out this operation is n times t. And if someone asks you the speed at which this is happening, you can say it is 1 upon nt. And of course, the unit is bits per second. So this gives you frequency of operation. This is also called as a bit rate. If you want to know at what bit rate this is happening, you can calculate like this. I hope you understand, because the unit for total time is in seconds and inverse of time gives you obviously frequency. I'm sure you understood that. Let's move to the very last type, that is parallel in, parallel out shift register. So as you can see, it is parallel in, parallel out shift register. What is going to happen over here? Let's say if I'm talking about 3 shift registers, okay, again it is not 3 shift register, it is 3 flip-flops. So there are 3 flip-flops. As you can see, the input is, let's say, D0, D1, D2, and the outputs are, Q0, Q1, Q2. And of course we have a common clock. So we have got a common clock. Meaning that, let's say if the input is 1, 1, 0, and if I give one clock pulse over here, within the first clock pulse, what happens? All the flip-flop gets triggered at the same time and the data gets stored inside the shift register. Or I would say the data gets shifted, or not shifted even, the data gets stored inside every flip-flop at the same time. And the moment at which the data gets stored inside the flip-flop on their respective pins, the same output is available also. Meaning that here, for storing you require only one clock pulse, and within the same clock pulse, as you can see, the data is available on respective pins, meaning that you require absolutely no clock pulse or no extra clock pulse to retrieve the data. The moment at which the data gets stored, at the same time the data is available on respective pins, meaning that I can say that irrespective on the size of parallel in parallel out shift register, or I would say for n bit parallel in parallel out shift register, total clock pulses needed is independent of n. It is simply 1. It is simply 1. And the total time is, you require only one clock pulse, so it is just t seconds. Or if someone asks you what is the frequency of operation, you can say it is 1 upon t. Of course, the unit is bits per second. I hope you understood this. It is very easy. If you actually compare this parallel in parallel out shift register with the other one, you will understand that parallel in parallel out shift register is considered as the fastest shift register, isn't it? Because it requires only one clock pulse over here. Okay, so just to revise it very quickly, for serial in serial out, since the input is a serial type, you require n clock pulses for storing the data. Since the output is also serial type, you require n minus 1 clock pulses to retrieve the data. So total clock pulses are referred to as 2n minus 1. When it is serial in parallel out, let's see what happens. Since it is serial in, of course for serial in, it means you require n clock pulses for storing the data. And once you store the data, you require no extra clock pulse. You require no extra clock pulse to retrieve the data. So ultimately the sum is n. Next, when I say parallel in serial out, okay, let us understand the input is parallel type. The input is parallel type, meaning that you require only one clock pulse to store the data. Yes or no? But yes, the output is a serial type. The output is a serial type means you require n minus 1 clock pulses to retrieve the data. But as you can see here, 1 gets cancelled. Ultimately, you require n clock pulses. And when it comes to parallel in parallel out shift register, you know that only one clock pulse is needed for storing the data, and for retrieving the data you require no extra clock pulse. So our work is done within one clock pulse only. Yes or no? So if I have to give a ranking on the basis of speed of operation, I can give this one as a first rank, the fastest one. These two requires a same speed, so you know this is a second rank, and third rank comes for serial in serial out shift register. I'm sure now you have understood what are shift registers, and also you have understood the classifications, or I would say basic classifications of shift registers. It's not the aim. We are even going to solve the problems based on the same, but you should understand the basic principle of every shift register in detail. Thank you.